What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today I have ink in places, slash I have a little bit of ink on my desk, and I have ink under my thumbnail, which makes it look like I have dirt under there because, well, it's blue ink, and when blue ink is half washed off, kind of looks like dirt. So you have that to look forward to. Today is December 4th, my loves, and today it is time to begin the season early with my top 5 series. I'm going to be doing a couple of these throughout the month, talking about my top 5 most whatevers, favorite, most used, gift ideas, that kind of stuff, and I'm going to be talking about that through the month of December. And one of the most popular ones is my top 5 most used inks for the year. The all-time favorite, of course, like always, is the top 5 pens, but, patience. So today I'm going to be talking about those top 5 that I've used most this year. It is a surprising palette, but yet not a surprising palette. I have the inks and whatnot in front of me here, and I will show you them in a moment. You know what? I'm going to change up how I was going to do this. I'm going to hold up the bottles and then I'll show you all of the ink swatches at the end, because when they're all together, they actually look really nice. And if you are on my Patreon, you have already seen a little teaser of this video. So if you click the link in the description below, you can find the link to my Patreon and also my Instagram there. If you would like to help support me and this channel continue to grow and prosper in the coming year. So yes, in these top 5, I actually have 6 inks that I want to talk about, but that's because one of them has replaced one. So, and they're pretty similar, so I want to talk about both. But anyways, these top 5 are in no particular order. They just seem to have been what I've gravitated most towards this year. So let me actually talk about one ink that surprised me. This is probably the one out of all of them that I never would have seen coming, because, spoiler, I tend to like a bit more saturated inks, a little bit darker, that like you can put in a fine nib and it's still going to come out pretty strong. So I don't usually want inks that are lighter. This one is very much that. And I actually bought 2 samples of it because I bought a sample. I went through the entire, I believe actually, was it 2 mils or 4 mils? I can't remember. But either way, I went through, oh, you just saw the box. I went through it and I went to go buy the bottle, but the bottle was sold out in the main 2 retailers that I purchased from. So I didn't end up buying the bottle, but I really didn't want to stop using it, so I bought another sample because that was in stock. So I used up both samples, and then I was finally able to buy the bottle. And I've had this bottle for the past year, and it is from Ferris Wheel Press. It is Storied Blue. It is the smaller bottle. I don't really even keep boxes of ink, but I love Ferris Wheel Press's boxes. They're so gorgeous. They are so well designed. They feel amazing because they're super soft. They're not like typical cardboard. And they're just gorgeous. And of course, it's got a kitty on it. So this is the smaller bottle. This is the 38 ml bottle, and it looks like this. And this is actually the ink that I have under my thumb right now. So it is simply stunning. It's really hard to capture. There we go. It is beautiful. It doesn't look like I've used a lot, but believe it or not, it was actually like filled right up here. And again, I've gone through both of those samples as well. And then it just says Storied Blue on the back. And it is beautiful. I usually use it in inks, or in pens that are much richer in flow. So something like my Pilot. Actually, you know what? I have them right here. I might as well just show you guys. In the Pilot Custom 912 with the FA nib. So this is the Falcon nib. This is a monstrous wet pen. So it flows out of here like crazy. I also use it a lot in my Pilot Custom 74 with a medium nib because this one is also quite wet. And I like it a ton. So that one came out of nowhere. I did not see that one come in at all. So that is definitely one of them for sure. Sticking along the blue lines, I have two blues. This one, I believe, has been on my top 5 for I know for sure last year. I don't know if about the year before that. But at minimum, it's been 2 years, but probably more. And that is Pilot Iroshizuku Tsukiyo. It is a phenomenal ink. It is a nice, dark blue with like a red sheen if you get it, wet enough. That's what she said. It's a 50 ml bottle, so it's going to take you quite a while to go through it. If you shake it up, it looks like you haven't used any at all. It is simply gorgeous. I love the bottle design. I love how the ink behaves. I like the little dip in here, and it is stunning. This ink can go in literally any pen. It does not matter. It is gorgeous. I love it. It is pretty much the staple that I will always have in my possession at all times. If for whatever reason they stop making this ink, I will buy like 6 bottles. And it will literally last me a lifetime. Alrighty, Roo, let's get out of the cool side of the color wheel and jump into the warm side of the color wheel, because the remaining 4 inks are on the warmer side. So let's sort of do the one that's in between the cool and the warm. This is also an ink that I didn't specifically see coming. I've used this brand. I quite enjoy this brand. This was originally sent to me from a Patreon supporter, from a viewer, and it was a very lovely sample that got sent to me, a pretty large sample that got sent to me, and I used the entire thing. And then I couldn't find it. I was looking everywhere for this ink, and it was not readily available to me in good old Canada. And so I had to buy from a company out of the States. I want to say Van Ness Pens, but I'm not positive on that. I don't really buy from them, not because I have anything against them. It's just the shipping is really expensive, that's all. And I always get hit with customs fees and whatnot, so it's just not typically fiscally responsible, let's say, to do that. I don't know if you can hear that background noise that just kicked on. It's my heat, and I'm directly under the vent, which is why you will see my hair flicker back and forth. But that is a scented ink, and it is KWZ Smells Like Coffee. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous ink. It reminds me a little bit of J.Herbin Lit de Thé, but Lit de Thé is a little bit more yellow, and this is sort of like a darker brown without being brown. Like, it still leans towards the yellowish side of brown, rather than like the red side of brown, but depending on the like wetness of your pen will depend on that shade. And it smells amazing. It smells like a latte, a sweet latte, and it is gorgeous. And this is also a huge bottle, 60 ml bottle. So this is definitely the largest. Nope, it's not the largest bottle that I have, but one of the larger bottles. So this will last me forever. So now that we've bridged the gap, we are officially into the warmer side of things. Let's talk about one that I know has also been on my list for many years, and that, of course, is Diamine Writer's Blood. This ink is gorgeous. It is an 80 ml bottle. It is huge. It looks like I haven't used any because the ink is so saturated that you can't see the fact that I've actually used quite a bit out of that 80, but yeah, I still have so much to go. Simply stunning. It is a deep, rich red that has a slight purple lean to it. You can get some gold sheen out of this as well, but it does have to be like really laid on thick. And you do have to have like Tomoe River paper. I've also used that one almost exclusively as well in the Pilot Custom 912 with the FA nib, just because it is that wet. I also like to use it in my Leonardo and my Visconti. These ones go really nice. This is the Perugna version, and this is the Midnight in Florence. I like those pairings quite a bit. I also will put it in my Aurora Optima Burgundy. So very, very lovely, simply stunning. Like I said, this one and Hiroshi Zuku have been on my list for multiple years and probably will remain for multiple years. And then I believe last year, this was the contested champion against Mont Blanc James Purdy & Sons single malt. This was a favorite ink of mine for many, many years, and it still is one of my favorites. I mean, as you can see, it is almost empty. I do have another bottle. What is vibrating on my desk? Why is my desk vibrating? Do I have ghosts? I thought maybe it would be Parker, but she's snoozing and she's not in here. I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. So yes, I don't even remember where I was now. That just got me right there. This is definitely an ink that I've used many, many, many times. Clearly, I haven't used it as much because this also smells amazing, by the way. Because a couple years ago, I got an ink from Dominant Industry, which is from Wonder Pens in Toronto. This is an exclusive to that location called Ginger Chicken. And Ginger Chicken is very similar to Mont Blanc James Purdy & Son. It is just slightly darker than Mont Blanc. Now, I will say it's not scented, and typically I don't care for scented inks, despite the fact that I have 2 on my table right now. But this smells delicious, and this also smells delicious. It's not like when scented inks first started becoming a thing, and like they were just kind of like florally, blah, you know? These are actually quite delicious. But the Ginger Chicken I really, really like. It shades pretty well. I will say the one downside to this is it can get a little crusty, whereas I never had that with this. So formulation-wise, I actually do prefer Mont Blanc over Ginger Chicken, but I like that Ginger Chicken is a little bit more concentrated, a little richer. So those are my top 5. Let me flip the camera around and show you the swatches that I have as we continue to talk about these. So these are the swatches. Things got a little punchy while we were doing it. So you can see like there's a errant drop of Ferris wheel when that happened. I just washed my hands like 17 times to try and get the ink out of my nails. So they're super dry right now. And I almost got there. Just kind of looks like they're dirty now. And some of the crust from the Ginger Chicken bottle got onto this sample as well as this one. So I had an interesting time before I started filming this, but you know what, I'm just gonna go with it. So the Tsukiyo, like I said, it does have a bit of red sheen, which is kind of beautiful. You won't see it all the time. You really have to have the right setup for it. And all the names, by the way, I wrote with Pilot, oh my god, I need to take a nap, Kaveco Sport, and the ink is Diamine Polar Glow, which I pretty much exclusively use in December. Check yesterday's video if you want to see more about that. And then of course Ferris wheel press. So you can see it's a little bit darker if you've like heavily saturated it. It shades really, really well. Like it shades stunningly well. But usually it's pretty light and it'll be more around this color here. Diamine Writer's Blood, like I said, you can get this gold sheen now. Typically, again, you don't see that in the writing unless it's on Tomoe River paper or something very similar to it. And it has to be a very, very wet writer in order to get it. Otherwise, it typically ends up looking more towards this side of things. And then we have ginger chicken. So like I said, it's still a little bit wet actually at the top. It's a little bit darker than, I didn't write it. This is Mont Blanc, James Purdy & Sons single malt. So they're pretty similar, but ginger chicken is just slightly darker, but not by a lot. Especially because if you have an average fountain pen wetness, it'll be closer to this side of things, and same thing with here. So they're pretty stinking close. I would just say maybe there's ever so slightly more brown in this orange versus this orange. And then, of course, it smells like coffee. Not a whole lot of like funkiness going on in this ink. It does shade pretty well between the dark tone and the lighter tone if you have it in a wetter writer. But there's no shimmer, there's no sheen, there's really nothing to this ink. It's pretty flat. It's kind of basic, but I love it. I love it quite a bit. And just the smell is gorgeous. You won't smell like with any, I don't know if any of you have used a, I had this, by the way, this is a magnet that goes on my DM screen for D&D. But when the heat is on, it flaps the pages. So I had this here so that these could dry. In case you're wondering why that's there. But I don't even remember what I was saying. I totally just had like ADHD with magnet. Wow, guys. I've never actually been diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I have ADHD based on all the symptoms the internet tells me. Because, I'm a millennial and we self-diagnose. Anywho, so these are the top 5 inks for 2024. What it'll look like a year from now in 2025, who knows? I would be willing to bet that these two will still remain because they're just my solid go-tos. I tend to have an ink or two that I'm obsessed with for a year and then kind of move on from there, but I feel like these two will probably always be there. But you never know. You'll have to tell me a year from now in that video if they're still there. But let me know in the comment section down below if you guys have used any of these inks. Did you like them? Why? Why not? What are your favorite inks for 2024? And yeah, just let me know. What's been on your mind, guys? Just blow up that comment section. Keep the algorithm happy. And I mean, if you're going to keep it happy, you might as well hit the like and the subscribe. Most people who watch my channel are not actually subscribed. But anyways, I'm going to stop rambling because clearly my brain is having issues right now. So I'm just going to say thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.